going on, everybody? Welcome to a special edition of Humanity Matters Show. I am your host, Dr. Philip Fletcher, where we discuss ideas related to faith and philosophy, leadership, and social issues. We want to engage in the idea of what it means to be a free individual in this society and to flourish. So thank you for joining me on tonight as we talk about tragedy, get some information on what's going on in the city of Minneapolis due to an unfortunate death, homicide, specifically of Amir Locke that happened last Wednesday, February 2nd, 2022. Hey, as always, connect with me on social media, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, over on YouTube, or on the World Wide Web at philipfletcher.org. Please subscribe to the newsletter, Daily Personalist Living and Leading. I would greatly appreciate it. As always, become a Patreon supporter. As little as $5, you get access to content and videos that I'm put out on YouTube or Facebook. And it helps go a long way to provide content for the show. And as always, check out the Humanity Matters podcast that release every Monday and Wednesday. All right. It will be a rebroadcast of this show that happens on Wednesdays, as well as a daily personalism of living and leading that comes out on Monday. So greatly appreciated. Want to bring on my friend Timothy, Reverend Tim Christopher. How you doing? I'll take off the mic. There you go. How you doing?
I'm good, my friend. I am good. How you doing?
Oh, can't complain at all. Can't complain at all. Can't complain at all. I'm glad you joined me on tonight just to discuss what has happened in Minneapolis with 22-year-old Amir Locke. And so I just want to lay out kind of like the who, what, when, where, how, why, and how. And then me and Reverend Tim is going to have a discussion. If you got questions or comments, please comment, whether you're on Facebook or on YouTube, and we will interact with those at some point. So on Wednesday, February 2nd, 2022, around 7 a.m., Amir Locke was asleep in an apartment. A SWAT team executed a no-knock warrant. Mr. Locke was asleep at the time, and in this body cam video footage, you see the Minneapolis SWAT enter the apartment with a key. They enter into the apartment. They fan out. One cop kicks the sofa. Mr. Locke is asleep. It is reported that he was asleep. He had a gun in his hand, didn't know what was going on, sought to get up. In the moment that he got up, he was shot, and the coroners have ruled it a homicide. According to reports, an article published by NPR, National Public Radio, and I quote, Mr. Locke had a gun in his hand, but both the authorities and Locke's attorneys agree that he was not the subject of the warrant that the police were attempting to execute, close quote. Also, Mr. Locke, according to reports from NPR, as well as his parents, who appeared on CNN and Don Lemon's show, quote, Mr. Locke legally possessed a firearm at the time of his death, close quote. So we have a young Black gentleman who did all the right things to get a firearm to protect himself, which is constitutional right, and it ended tragically for him. Again, Mr. Locke was shot and killed and has been ruled a homicide. The officer who executed the shooting is an officer, Mark Hanneman. All right. So, Tim, so just give us a general tenor, the atmosphere, how people are feeling, obviously his parents, of what's going on in Minneapolis.
Well, again, Phil, thank you for reaching out to me, man. And, us sitting down and having this here conversation, I think it's a conversation that needs to be had. There's another thing I just wanted to add in there when you was talking about this situation is we're dealing with one of the um, corrupt police departments there is. I mean, they're always under investigation. So I just want to add that part.
Okay.
The feeling around here is another one. Here's another one. But here's the thing. Here's the thing, sir. Is it's not just us this time. It's not just the Black community saying we want answers. We literally have allies now. You know how we're always going, see, that's what we're telling you. That's what we're telling you. And the other side always sit there and go, well, he should have complied, or he should have done this, or he should have done that, right? Here we are laying in the streets, and they're telling us what we should have done instead of going, well, why are they keep doing it this way? So the feel right now is we've got a lot of momentum going into this situation.
Okay.
So, like always, what do the media do? The media will find a way to dirty up a Black man no matter what. Right?
Okay, so what are they saying about him? Because, like, he's 1 year younger than my son. My son is 23. And like you said, people said, if you do these right things, comply, so on and so forth, this young man, from what I found, has had no issues, no problems whatsoever. Obviously, he's had no issues or problems because he was able to legally obtain a gun, right?
That's right. That's right. So right now, what's being leaked, and this is what the police do, and then they use a racist media to spin their narrative.
Okay.
So what's being leaked right now is the gun that he had. This is what they're trying to do. They're trying to say the gun that the kid had is the gun they were looking for. That watch what they do, Phil. Watch this. They know they're caught. They know it. So now they've got to make this kid look bad. So that's the whole thing. Now, if that truly was the gun that they were looking for, they would have set it up front because they were scrambling. They were scrambling for anything to the point to where the police chief here, I don't know if you've seen any of the press conferences or not.
No, I want to talk to you about, what the mayor said, the police chief. I want, as much as you can give since you live there. I want you to help inform us on tonight to get through the media,
right,
and get what's really going on the ground. So go ahead.
So the police chief during her press conference tried to justify the shooting by saying that there was this is what she said, and when everybody's like, well, he had his finger index, right? He trigger discipline.
Yeah.
It's in the video.
Mm-hmm.
So she's trying to say there was someone off camera that he might have pointed the gun to. If you look at the video, the gun, finger trigger discipline, he's down. Right?
Yeah.
But because she has to come up with a lie, Phil. She's on camera just digging for something. And she sits there and go, well, there was a cop off camera, off view, that we couldn't see, that he was pointing the gun at. This is how corrupt they are, my brother. This is how corrupt they are.
Yeah. So in the video, you can't answer for how a person is asleep. I'm not a heavy sleeper, but I sleep enough, but I know what's going on. Some other people could be such heavy sleepers that when they wake up, they're disoriented, so on and so forth, right? So I don't know what type of sleeper Mr. Locke was, but I do know this, is that when he got up, the time it took for him to get up and just like him turn, that's when the shots went off. I believe it was like a 9-second thing, to where you got a person who's coming up out of their sleep. He's got a blanket on, and you're just asleep. So if they've already admitted that he wasn't one they were looking for, and he's just sleep minding his own business, then that gets into the questions, because one of the things we're going to talk about is like the increase of gun ownership among Black Americans in the last couple of years. It's like a 58% jump of Black Americans who own firearms. So you got a young man who legally owns a firearm. However he chooses to secure that weapon while he sleeps, it's his business. He chose to sleep with it, which is his business. And if someone who's not living there just breaks in from, his perspective, your reaction is to immediately be like, what's going on, without giving the opportunity to respond appropriately. Like, that was one of the tragedies of that video. He wasn't even given the opportunity to respond appropriately, to see what was going on. We're going to never get that answer if he knew what was going on. But the fact that he's coming up out of his sleep, and, for the chief of police to make the assertion that he immediately pointed it. Well, she's making the assertion as almost he knew that cop is off screen, and he knew immediately where to point coming up out of his sleep.
Don't forget, he had bright cop flashlights in his face.
Right.
Now let's think about this for a second, Phil. You're on to something.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my wife, you can drop a bomb in the room and she won't move.
A
bit. I'm a light sleeper.
Yeah.
I can get up. The alarm goes off. I can get up with no problem, and I'm bouncing around.
Mm-hmm.
Now, think about this. Someone comes through the door to screaming and yelling. You forgot about the kick of the couch
right.
that he was on, right?
Right.
Kick your couch, startles you.
Yeah.
It's pitch black dark.
Yeah.
Boom. Flashlights in your face. You're just waking up. Like you said, you don't understand. Some people, they just can't come to that quick.
Right.
So now I'm startled. I got my firearm in my hand. I'm gonna get to that part when people talk about how you sleep with how you should store your firearm when you sleep.
Yeah.
But getting back to what you were saying, boom, I'm startled. I've got flashlights cop flashlights in my face, which are brighter than bright, unbelievably bright.
Right.
Okay, at this point, what am I thinking? Okay. I'm in a nightmare. Then I've got to protect myself at some point in time. Now, brings me to protecting yourself. If you are a citizen who has the right to carry a firearm, you ain't done nothing. You ain't a criminal. You done everything right to make sure I carry my firearm now, no matter where I don't care where I go anymore.
Yeah.
I don't. Before, when I would carry my firearm, I did not have one in the pipe. I just put my mag in and off I go, because I really wasn't too worried about things happening. Now, I made sure that I got all 16 with one in the pipe. So if something happens, it's just a matter of pulling the trigger. That's it.
Yeah.
This kid gets up, right? All this commotion going on. And again, his trigger finger discipline was on par, man. You can't, being that scared, and you still got that thought of saying, I'm not putting my finger on the trigger unless I aim at the target. That's what you're taught.
Yeah, that's what you're taught.
Right?
So right.
Do not put your finger on the trigger unless you're meaning to shoot. Right. Unless you're meaning to let it go. This kid did not have his finger on the trigger at no point in time. Even when he's getting up with all this stuff going on around him, he didn't have his finger on the trigger. So to me, that's saying he's not ready to shoot anybody in that room. Think about it for a second. Now, if he would have got up and he would have jumped up and he would have got in the prone position and his finger would have been on the trigger and he's ready to pull that puppy, okay, then we had another situation that we sit here and go, okay, they got to shoot back because she's shooting.
Yeah.
That's not the case here, Phil. The case here is this kid never thought about shooting. Because think about it, for all he know, because I got crazy cousins, man. I got crazy cousins. If I fall asleep, like you fall, you know how it works, right? If you fall asleep first, something's going to happen to you, right?
Yeah.
They gonna put flour up your nose,
pour
water all over,
Vaseline on your glasses. I've been there. Yeah.
Right. So here's my thought. I've got a feeling when he kicked the couch and he startled him, he probably was like, wow, that could be my cousin coming through the door just being goofy. So I'm gonna get up and not point my gun, not put my finger on the trigger, because that could be a family member or a friend or somebody I know, and I don't want to shoot him. I'm just looking at it in a way of that this kid did not put his finger on the trigger.
Right.
So I've got to seriously sit here and think he was not ready to shoot anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of what, because you got to remember, that's all the thing that I teach when I'm talking to young men about guns.
Okay.
When I tell them this, don't ever say gun to a police officer. You got to remember, like I said, I wish I would have got a hold of Fernando Castile.
Yeah.
Because I would have said, Fernando, don't ever say gun. Because remember what police do. What do they yell? Gun, 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 gun. They're trained, right? The mindset is trained. Gun, 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 gun. And what I'm thinking is somebody in that room, one of them cops, yelled gun, 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 pow, 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 pow.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when it comes down to it, he just wasn't ready to shoot, man.
Right.
He just people can say what they want, man. I shoot all during the winter. I didn't shoot much this winter, but I belong to an outdoor range, and during the summertime, I train as much as I possibly can. I train as much as I possibly can. And like I said, I know when someone's ready to shoot, and I know when someone's not ready to shoot. He didn't even have his faculties about it. What he's going to do, just start blasting in the room?
Yeah.
He wasn't ready to shoot, man. I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave that one at that.
Okay. So in my preparation for tonight, so from what I learned and understand, you can talk about this, Mayor Jacob Frey, is that how you pronounce it? Frey?
Fry.
Fry, okay. Has suspended no-knock warrants for now. So what did the mayor have to say about this incident?
The shooting?
Yeah.
Well, but let me back up a little bit and let you know this. During his campaign, he said that we're not having no more no-knock warrants. That's what he said. Okay? What went down should have went down under what he told us. No-knock warrants will not happen. Come to find out, my friend, we've had 39.
So was he mayor when George Floyd was killed? Did he become mayor after?
Yeah, he's mayor.
Oh, he was mayor then? Okay.
Yeah, he went out and showed his butt and kneeled before the casket and did the cry thing and the whole nine. I mean, just this cat, dude, this cat is so phony, it's not even funny. And the only reason he's back in office now is because of the people who was running against him. That's the only reason. If we would have had a viable candidate, he wouldn't have been in office. But the people that was running against him was so bad that people were scared to put him in office. That's how bad it was.
Okay.
They said, no to these two. We'll keep the crazy. We'll keep this one who have zero clue in what he's doing. This is so far over his head, it's not even funny.
Okay.
I mean, he come in from Virginia to run this city. The DFL brought him in from Virginia to run Minneapolis.
DFL is, who is that?
the Democratic Party here in Minnesota.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. So he came in with his normal deer in the headlights, his normal just talking with nothing coming out, just word salad like you wouldn't believe. I just don't have I have like zero. He has zero credibility right now.
Okay.
He has zero. If elections was tomorrow, even them two that was so worse than he was, we would vote for one of them. That's how bad he is right now.
Okay.
Because he missed a point on this thing.
Yeah.
He totally missed a point on it.
So after his election, I guess the campaign promised to end no-knock warrants. Did he or the city council, did they make any moves toward doing that? I know there was talk about defunding and the such, but was there any moves made towards addressing no-knock warrants, or now because of what Amir Locke, now it's back?
Now? Oh, now?
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, watch this here, my brother.
Okay.
So the Democratic Party, who basically has power here, and when I mean power, I'm not talking just a little bit. We got so much power, the Republicans are afraid to do anything. They're afraid to go to the bathroom probably without asking for their permission.
Okay.
It's sad. It is unbelievably sad because the Democrats can do whatever they want, whenever they want, and however they want. And there's nothing the Republican Party can do because the Republican Party is just that bad. They've been ran so bad that all of the power that the DFL has, they laugh at them.
Okay.
No ifs, ands, or buts. So there haven't been anything said about the no-knock warrants. Nobody talked about anything. So today, the DFL.
Wait, so hold on, real quick now. So what I understand is you're in a city and more likely a state that is heavily influenced and controlled by the Democratic Party.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They have the opportunity to make change regarding no-knock warrants. I mean, we hear that all across America, all the way up into Washington, D.C. But given the opportunity to actually do something, they haven't done anything.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. You knocked it out of the park right there on there. But today they decided to throw out this little piece. Now, this is the Democrats. Okay. They decided to throw out this little piece that they got this bill that they're going to try to pass addressing no-knock warrants, addressing it pretty much. The way that this word, the way that they've got it worded, if we need to have a no-knock warrant, we'll bring it back. But if we don't, it'll just be for special occasions. We're going to bring this bottle of wine out for special occasions. Here's the problem with that, Phil. You can't believe anything that the mayor says, and you can't believe anything that the DFL party says. So as long as we don't know about it, Phil, they will keep doing it. They will keep, just like Mayor Fry did. If this hadn't went bad, we would have never known it went down. We would have never known that there was another no-knock warrant. They had 39 of them from the time that he's talking about that we wasn't going to have no-knock warrants anymore.
Really?
Yes, sir. St. Paul, the city.
Okay.
So St. Paul calls up Minneapolis and say, we want a search warrant.
Okay.
Right? To go into this building to get someone who could have been involved in a shooting.
Okay.
Minneapolis, the corrupt system police that we have in Minneapolis said, no, we need a no-knock warrant. St. Paul.
So they first pursued getting a warrant.
Right.
They would have to announce the whole knock on the door, announce themselves, so on and so forth.
Right.
And then it changed to a no-knock warrant.
Minneapolis changed it. Yeah.
And for what reason?
That's what I'm telling you. People don't understand how bad this department is. This department needs to be disbanded.
Okay.
Now, I'm not about defunding the police. I'm
I
not
think I
about.
understand. I think you understand what it's saying. I think I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
You're talking about a complete overhaul of
thank
that.
you.
Yeah, of that
Reform.
department. Yeah,
Yep.
reforming.
You understand what I'm saying?
I do.
Because people get on here and be like, "Well, he's so anti-police, dude." I've got one of the guys who I hang out with is running for sheriff.
Okay.
All right, and I'm backing him 110%.
Mm-hmm.
So, but this police department that we've been talking about, Phil, for a long time is finally getting its just due.
Yeah.
People are finally seeing what people. Phil, they put up a racist Christmas tree. Go look it up. Look up. I'm serious. When we get done, look, brother, when we get done with this, I want you to look up Minneapolis Police Department and Christmas tree.
Okay.
We was outside the department protesting. Look it up. If anybody's on here, all the people that you got on here, have them look at Minneapolis Police Department Christmas tree.
Okay.
They literally put up a racist Christmas tree. When you see it, you're gonna understand what I'm talking about.
Okay.
You're gonna understand. But the Democrats decided that they're gonna put this lame bill out there, so people can go, "Oh wow, you're doing something." They're not doing anything. Only thing they're doing is cutting and pasting something that was already here, man.
Right.
So the Democrats put their name on it, put it out there, and everybody go, "Oh, all is good." No, all isn't good. No, I'm going to make sure all isn't good until I see a bill that says no-knock warrants under these situations will not happen. Now, hold on. Let's say there's a hostage situation. Somebody's holding some people hostage.
Right.
Look, just go knock the door down.
Right.
I don't even think you need a warrant, right?
No, at that point, it's pretty clear what the situation is. So, on reading up on this stuff, there was a researcher who found, let me make sure I get this right, that up until 1981, there was like 3,000 no-knock warrants. And then from 1981 to 2005, it increased to more than 50,000 no-knock warrants. And then this researcher in 2010, he had estimated between 60 and 70,000 no-knock or quick no-knock warrants were conducted. And then looking at around Breonna Taylor and the number of no-knock warrants that happened and the outcomes of those. So in some of them, you had a lot of them were individuals. It wasn't the right house. They went in, the law enforcement went in, the person in the house was unaware of what was going on, but the person in the house had a firearm. In some cases, they killed a law enforcement officer. In other cases, the resident of the home was killed. Man, I found there was Katherine Johnson, 92-year-old elderly white woman in 2006. They had a no-knock warrant. Why would you no-knock warrant a 92-year-old house?
Because they got the wrong house. The checks and balances. I got into it with somebody on my Twitter, and they were swearing up and down to me, talking about, but you don't understand the checks and balances. No, I understand checks and balances because most of the time those checks and balances, they don't add up. And you end up at somebody's house, right?
Right. And there's a lot of these in Texas. Let me see, a guy named Hank McGee, he shot and killed a deputy in Texas. And then in 2014, they didn't indict him. All right. No-knock warrant. They went in, Hank McGee shot and killed one of the law enforcement.
I think that's because Texas has stand your ground is what I'm trying to.
Well, hold on a second. Hold on. In the same state in 2014, Marvin Guy, they indicted him for capital murder of a police detective. So in the same state, a no-knock warrant was issued. In one case, the guy woke up unaware, shot and killed the detective, and he wasn't held for capital murder. In another case, the guy was held for capital murder. Like, this is not a good situation, you know?
No.
And I try to figure out, how do you arrive at the wrong house? Like, that's poor police work. And then, you know, we talk about accountability, and I believe a judge has to sign off on these things.
Yep.
What is the process for them to really double, triple check? Because these are not isolated to one particular state. These are like across the country. You know, obviously the big one is Breonna Taylor. And then what happened with Amir Locke last week, you know, to the point, and this is why I asked about when you mentioned about the Democratic Party in Minneapolis. So Cori Bush, she had commented about this whole thing, and she's a congresswoman from Missouri. And she had commented that no work has been done in Washington about this. But Rand Paul, Senator Rand Paul from Kentucky, he put out the Breonna Taylor Justice Act, Justice for Breonna Taylor Act, that was to end all no-knock warrants. It was the federal move. And do you know, man, it's been sitting in the Judiciary Committee for 2 years, right? So towards the end of the Republican control, now the Senate's in Democratic control. No move has been done on it. And then I asked myself, okay, Cori Bush, there's no Democratic sponsorship. Why don't you walk your happy self down the street, talk to Senator Rand Paul, y'all lock arms, and y'all get something passed. But all she did was put out a tweet, and a tweet ain't gonna do nothing.
That's right.
A tweet is not going to do nothing. You feel like you just feel like you're morally superior, seeking to do a gotcha moment on Republicans. But the fact of the matter is, your party controls the House, and your party controls the Senate, and your party controls the White House. You could get something passed, and I bet you Senator Rand Paul will be right there, and I believe also Senator Tim Scott would be right there to help you get it passed. But for some reason, nothing gets done. And then my question is why?
Because they got to play this. They got to play this cat and mouse game, man. You know, here's the thing that gets me exactly what you're talking about. She could take that paper, like you say, and walk down the street, right? Just that bill, nothing else. Don't stick nothing else in the bill. No pork, nothing.
It's a clean, Tim. It's a clean bill.
Come on.
That's what Rand Paul's got. It's so it's so clean. I don't think I've ever seen anything that clean.
But they always want to put something in there for themselves, right? Yeah. That's the problem that we have. See, here in Minnesota, I'm telling anybody who hangs out with me that if we put people in office from this point on, and I'm not kidding, Philippe Cunningham, you was talking about the city council. We would have had two had they not played this sneaky game on us. We would have had two. But Philippe Cunningham was one of those defund the police nuts.
Okay.
And he had to go because he was literally dragging down the city. Lisa Bender, who was the president, I wish she hadn't resigned. I wish she would have went and tried to get her seat back because we had somebody for her too. But at the end of the day, we've got to figure out a way that we as people, and that's what I was telling you earlier when I started earlier, saying right now is probably the best time and the best feeling in Minneapolis that I've had in a long time.
Okay.
Because when you got white people actually saying, oh no, that's wrong. When you got white people actually saying, now we get it because We understand what you're saying about the no-knock warrants. See, now, like I said, now what they have to do and what they're going to do is they are going to find a way to divide us. Because look, we can't be traveling this road together, man. We can't. They just had a protest downtown.
Okay.
Black, white, Asian, everybody. It was a beautiful scene, dude. It was a beautiful scene.
That was this past weekend, wasn't it?
No, just the other night.
Oh, just okay. All right.
Yeah, and that protest, hold on, that protest was very, very peaceful. Nothing happened. Nobody got crazy. Nobody hit nobody. Nobody, Lord or anything. But let me say this here too. Let's talk about that cop that shot that kid.
Yeah, his name again is Officer Mark Hanneman. Officer Mark Hanneman.
So there's going to be a group that's going to be coming after him. They're going to want him fired, right? And they're going to want him on the stand. And then they're going to want to take him out and put him up on a stick and burn him at in a pit.
Yeah.
And the powers to be who set him up are going to walk and nothing's going to happen to them. But that man's life is ruined. We forget about that part too. See, I like I said, I've already talked about the kid. I've talked about it was wrong. I talked about somebody should pay the price.
Yeah.
I'm done with the kid. Now we got to look at this here officer.
Okay.
And then we got to sit here and say he had a life also, but he was just doing his job. That
wow,
he signed up, right?
Tim, man, you are taking an approach that I rarely hear. Go ahead.
But I'm being fair. Like Fernando Castillo's murderer should be in jail right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, that man should be in jail. But the media made people who don't look like us believe that marijuana killed him. Mm-hmm. Here in Minnesota, you talk to a white person, the first thing they're going to say, well, he shouldn't have been on marijuana. That's what that is what drove me to start really, really amping up things and amping my voice because of the way that the media treated that kid and the way that the white people treated that kid.
Yeah.
But now this is a whole total different level, I believe. This isn't racism. This isn't white supremacy. I'm not playing that stuff, Phil. I'm not going there with this.
Yeah.
This man had a right to get up, go to work, do his job, and come home. The leadership and the policies that we have here in Minnesota, that is what got him in trouble.
I see what you're saying.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because of the things, even though, hold on, don't get me wrong. I started off saying that the Minneapolis Police Department is one of the most corrupt police departments, but they get to travel under a different type of system.
Uh-huh.
For some reason, they can do no wrong. They can do things to people that you look at and go, how did they let that get away? But when you run into a room and you do the things that they're asking you to do, and somebody yells gun, you've been trained to shoot, you train and train and train, and that training kicks in, and you shoot somebody who shouldn't be shot, but you shouldn't have been there from the get jump, but the powers that be put you there, Phil.
Yeah.
See, I'm not calling for his head, man. I'm not even asking him to put him in a desk. You want me to tell you who I'm calling for? I'm calling for his bosses.
Okay.
That sheriff who knew that was going down has to go. That mayor of this city who lied and said that there were no more no-knock warrants, he has to go. Mm-hmm. He's done so much. That man has done worse to this than the last 3, 4, 5 mayors that before him. They messed up. And two of the mayors, R.T. Raback and Becky Hodges, is the reason that we started down this here ugly slope. But this man, Jacob Fry, is probably the worst I've ever seen. and somebody talking about being a mayor and somebody talking about running a city, my brother. He is the worst. The worst. They should have sent him to Chicago because, that's where they should have sent him, not here. So we got to get somebody in here who's willing to work and put time in to make things happen. But people are going to get mad at me. I don't care. That's just my set. That's my thought, and that's how I feel.
Yeah,
I think top shouldn't be paying for what they did, man.
Yeah, I think that's a high level of maturity and consideration of all those involved, because obviously there's a lot of, the direct victim of this is Amir Locke, and being killed so early in his life. Obviously, the impact that it has on the officer as well, and then Amir's parents. And you're right, all because the powers that be, for a number of reasons, are simply working to maintain their power, and the casualties in this are everyday people. People trying to live, people staying in their homes, people going to work, simply doing their job, being doing what they're told to do, and you are directing your anger and speaking, because I follow you on Twitter, and speaking that truth to power to those local officials. Because here's the thing, one of the things I realized, even though I referenced, what's happening in Washington with, Rand Paul's bill and what Congresswoman Cori Bush had to say, at the end of the day, that work and that energy has got to come at the local level, and, you raising your voice, like you said, allies come together regardless of background, because this is how I see it, going through the numbers. This no-knock warrant, it's impacted. I've read stories on Black men, Black women, white men, white women, Latinos. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, this is not just a Black issue. This is, if you will, this is the state, and when I say state government, and at that local level, using its law enforcement. And again, those individuals are doing their job, but the ones who pay for it are the everyday citizens. Yeah. And they pay for it, sadly, in terms of their lives ultimately, or they pay for it in terms of having to defend themselves in court and the amount of money that costs, because then I'm a private individual having to go to court to defend myself against the state who's got the money and the lawyers and all that. And it's costing them, quote unquote, nothing. Well, because I'm paying them anyway. And so now we got to focus on increasing the amount of pressure and energy in such a way that ultimately you get those individuals out of office. You have people fired, Keep going. I'll take a break.
You definitely right. See, here's the thing. And you was talking about Cori Bush and all this here type of stuff. And hey, Josh, I always got to say hi to Josh. How you doing, Josh? You was talking about Cori Bush and things like that. And I'll be totally honest with you, bro. I don't think about, I don't read, I don't research anything outside of Minnesota. I really honestly don't, because
you're strong. Your local game is strong.
Yeah, this is, look, when I leave here at this earth, I got 2 kids and 2 grandkids that's probably gonna be here forever. And I'll be damned if I'm gonna leave here and leave it in this here type of situation. At least I can sit here and say, you can never sit here and say, yo, Tim never tried. Tim never gave it a shot. He ain't never tried to get people together. He's never tried to unify each other. And the one thing that we don't ever talk about, Phil, is this here. When you was talking about how this impact people. People forget that there are poor white people. For some reason, and it's been shocking me here lately, because when I go down and I talk to them and I ask them, has anybody been down to see you? Have anybody talked to you? Because what people don't understand, the very people who always cry about, you're giving them handouts, they're getting free stuff. Well, those poor white people usually get just the crumbs that falls off the thing. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, sir. I do.
Those poor white people go through the same thing that black people go through when it comes to the cops. I've been there on many occasions on Lake Street, and I've watched them take a white man and literally take him by his pants and his shirt, bro, and just sling him. And I'm sitting there going, if that was a rich man, if that man lived in Edina, if he lived in Plymouth or Maple Grove, that wouldn't be happening. That same white man, you take him and stick him in the suburbs, you will not see that happen. But because he's down here and everybody get treated like criminals and dogs, you're able to do that. And that's the mindset. And the reason I say that is this. That's the mindset that when they went through that door, Phil, that's the mindset they had. There's a criminal on the other side of that door, and whatever we have to do it, because we've got the power behind us. Derek Chauvin, come on, think about it for a second.
Yes, sir.
What did he do? He put his knee on somebody's neck. He used training that they taught, and because they taught him that, and because he had the Minneapolis Police Department behind him so strong, he said, I'm going to do what I want to do, how I want to do it, when I want to do it, and you can't tell me nothing. That's what he did, because it was okay for him. They taught him that. They trained him that, right? He did what he was trained to do. At the end of the day, when it's all said and done, he went to jail, rightfully so. But who trained him that? Who gave him the right to do that? Who told him to do that? This is what the problem is. Just like this cop right now, that cop's going to go through hell and back.
Yeah.
But the very people who told him that it was okay for him to do it, we're going to leave them in power so they can mess up another cop. People don't think. The very people who said it's okay for you to burst that door down and shoot that kid are going to be the very people that's going to say it again and then again and again and again. And who, at the end of the day, you got a dead person, and then you got another person that's probably wishing they was dead because they're going to come after him. Who did that, Phil? That's what we're done with the small stuff, brother. That's what I'm telling y'all. I know. No. See, I'm going to keep doing this here. If everybody else want to stay down here and play with the small stuff, that's fine. But when y'all ready to come up here and start really, really critical thinking, we all talk about, well, let's do critical thinking and all this here. Let's go. Critical think with me. Who takes the very people that told him to do that? What happens to them, Phil?
Sir, more than likely, they will figure out some way to create some new program, increase taxes, increase their salaries, and then the people that live there will get some pittance, chumps change, crumbs, or whatever to say, so that they can say, see, we did something, while they continue to increase their bag and their power and their influence.
So we got a dead kid and a cop who's probably want to blow his brains out. And then they get to walk. And we're okay with that, Phil.
No.
So I got to be okay with that, Phil.
No, you shouldn't be at all.
Thank you very much. I appreciate what you just said. Nobody should be okay with this.
Right.
Nobody. We got to stop looking at the small stuff and start looking at the big stuff. The big stuff is the big people who are making these calls.
Yeah.
Who are making these calls. Dude, I just got on the Republican Party because half of them are running around here talking about, we'll think about it and we'll talk about no-knock warrants. No. We're not talking about it no more. We've talked about it. Y'all have meetings on it. Here's the deal. I want to hear you say, just like the people who are running for governor. We got 3 who made a concession about it. 3 out of 6. I got the only black man that's in this race. Ain't heard a peep from him. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
All skin folks.
I mean, for those, for those that are Republicans, for those 2A types, Second Amendment types, such and such is trying to take our weapons, red flag laws, so on and so forth. You had a young man here who did it right, who did it no different than you did. I'm making the assumption that you own weapons. He was asleep, minding his own business with his weapon in his house, and it got him killed. And you're going to remain silent and think about it.
That's what I'm saying.
But see, here's the problem. By doing that, many may think, well, that means that puts us at odds with the police. No, you should. So this is how I see it. You're making a choice between someone who had their constitutional rights violated. Every step of the way, Amir Locke had his constitutional rights violated, and it was violated by the state. It was violated by the state.
Yep.
So what those Republicans are telling you is, we're going to think about, do we side with the state or do we side with a young man and his constitutional rights being violated? And if they choose to remain silent, then actually you've already made your decision. You're already saying who you're aligned with.
That's right.
And that's part of the game. So on one end, like you stated, with one party, they make these political promises to get votes, to increase their bag, to increase their power, and then do nothing. And then when something happens, then they pull it out again so that it's an election season, so they can get their votes, increase their bag, and maintain power. And then you got another party who talks all this stuff about First Amendment, Second Amendment, and then when it's violated by the state, then they want to be quiet.
That's Minnesota. You just nailed Minnesota. You just nailed Minnesota in a few minutes.
Bro, I think that's America.
That's America. Yeah, you're right.
I think
you're right.
I think it is. And again, everyday people who are just simply trying to go to work, take care of their family, raise their kids, make ends meet, all that kind of stuff. They're the ones that's paying for it. And we funding our own afflictions.
Our own demise. Our own demise. We're putting money into it, making it happen. We're just gonna give up right now, Phil. Let's just give up, man. Let's just go. You know what? We're headed down this rabbit hole that's gonna drop into a deep, ugly hellhole. Let's just go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. Let me see. CJ Connor jumps in and he says, the training they get now in policing is modeled after war zone policing against enemy combatants, the same training they got in Afghanistan and on the Israel West Bank border. I don't deny that because I served in the military. I served in Iraq, OIF 3. We did 4 stacks going house to house, going inside rooms, clearing rooms. I mean, even some of the movements that they were doing in the SWAT video, I recognized them putting a hand on the shoulder to move forward, to secure the room. Honestly, to be honest, we got a lot of veterans who transition out of the military, and a corresponding profession out of the military, especially if you're in combat arms, infantry, armor, such and such, is to go into law enforcement. It is easily transferable. The skills are easily transferable. And look at the military today. Look at the equipment that they have. Look at the vehicles that they drive around.
Oh, yeah.
Oof. I see, Tim, I see stuff that I saw when I was in the Army, and it's on our city streets.
But you know what? Here's the thing about that though. I used to be mad about that. I'm one of those who went into this whole thing saying, you know what? We got to take all that away from. We got to take that all away from them. But if they're telling me that if they see if they want to go after a bad guy or get a bad guy, that's what they need versus having no knock warrant. If they've got to take a Bradley or whatever they got, we got this huge we have this huge vehicle here. It's called the Bear. It is unbelievable, man. This thing, and when you're at a protest, and when that Bear is coming down the street, you move. You get out. Everybody scatter.
I know what it is because we use those in Iraq. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Oh, okay.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I've never seen anything like this before in my life until one time we was downtown and this big truck just comes down and everybody's just looking at this thing going, where in the world did you get something like that? Yeah. That thing it's impressive.
It is.
So what I'm saying is, if we're going to give up no knock warrants, and they're saying, well, we do no knock warrants so we don't get shot and nobody get hurt, but we need such and stuff. I'm good now. Keep it. Fine. Keep it. You can have it. As long as you're not knocking doors down. It's just like the white guy. You ever see that video of the white guy? They knock on his door and they're playing video games. Him and his wife, somebody called the police.
No.
Yeah. So somebody called the police. They were playing video games really, really loud. The police come knocks on the door. So this guy's like, well, I got my firearm. If the right now, I'm not going to show you, but what I'm saying is it's right here. I'm home, right? Yeah. The police knocks on the door. They tell him to come out. He comes out the door. He's sitting. I'm going to send you this. He's sitting the gun down. White guy. They killed him. That's a true story. I'll find that video and show it to you.
Okay.
They killed him. So what I'm saying is, that's why I say there's some here that's trying to make this into a racial thing because, this isn't a racial thing, Phil.
Yeah,
I'm not letting it go there. I'm not buying it, and I'm not getting into it at all.
And that's what really slows down. If you will, the way I'm using this word, progress to improve things.
That's right.
To improve so that individuals have greater freedom and they can live in less fear of their local, county, state, urban, federal type law enforcement coming in and doing all types of stuff. It's important that we keep in the forefront that they look at all of us the same, but at the same time, there are powers that be that know they can flip that switch and create an us versus them, which will then slow down that opportunity to really create some change.
Yeah.
And so I commend you in what you're doing up there to keep the main thing, because again, it disproportionately impacts poor people.
That's right.
Poor blacks, poor
That's right. That's
Latinos. So it doesn't matter, right? And so it's a income type thing. You have more law enforcement in those areas. The second thing is you correctly hit on it, is that individuals like you doing grassroots activities, holding those elected officials and bureaucrats responsible. Like, man, you hold their feet like to the freaking fire. And
you have to.
Yeah.
But we have to, Phil.
And so it's that grassroots activity that's to happen, but then also individuals saying, hey, you know what? I'm about to throw my hat in the ring because we got to do something different.
Oh, right? See, I couldn't do that. I don't have that. Look,
yeah, everybody's got their place.
No. What I'm telling you, I would.
Yeah,
but I don't have that temperament.
I know.
Hey, the only reason I'm being good, and when you see me, I'm being good because I know that one upstairs will come down here and open that door and look at me, and then I gotta pull it back.
I understand.
I was up there at the Capitol, and she's not around. Dude, it wouldn't be nothing for me to go over there and knock somebody in the head and tell them to shut up.
Yeah.
You know, no, because look. At the end of the day, what are we trying to do? We're trying to build a nation.
Yeah.
We're trying to hold America true to what America said on paper, brother.
Yeah.
And we've got every right to live in a true society that I don't have to worry about if my wife walk out that door and she gonna get carjacked. So what I'm saying is, don't make me into a criminal, because if something happens to her, I will hunt you down like the rabid dog you is. So now I'm the criminal, right? So if I find the thug that puts their hands on my wife and I blow his brains out, and I know people sit there and go, well, you're a reverend. Let me make sure we understand something. I'm from the streets. I'm straight hood. Don't ever forget that. There's time that this cross come out. See, this is what I'm talking about right here. This is why I couldn't run. That's why I tell people, everybody talking about, you should run for this. No, I know my place. God did not put me there. He put me right here to do what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So no, I'll get behind people. I'll push them. I'll say what they need to say. If they need help, they come to me. I talk to them. The whole nine. I can do all of that. But I'm not putting myself in a position to where I'm going to get pissed because I got someone who wants to play with other people's lives. These politicians need to understand that. You're playing with people's lives. Like I said, that cop, they played with his life, brother.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we could be mad at the cop for pulling the trigger, but at the end of the day, like I said before, I'm not calling for his head. You're not dragging him out of the county jail and hanging him up by a tree.
Right.
If you want to do that, then go get the people who put him into place.
Yeah.
I don't understand why that's so hard now.
Yeah. So, you echo writer Frederick Bastiat, and he talks about how politicians and those types, they make decisions and put policies in place that don't impact them, but it impacts everybody else. And so they are free, if you will, of the outcomes of their decisions, and, you talk about, defending your wife. I mean, I understand that totally. And I think that's your, some going to probably disagree with me. I think that's your Christian duty, because that's your flesh.
That's my job.
That's your flesh.
That's your job.
Yeah.
God set you up. When he gave you your wife, you had already had the tools. When he put Adam in that garden, he put him in there for what? To till it, to work it, and protect it. When he gave him the animals, he taught him how to be around animals, to have different temperament with those animals.
Yeah.
So when God gave you your precious gift, he gave it to you so you can make sure that you're ready, set, and protector. You are the gatherer, you are the protector, you are the man of the house, even though she tell you to get out of her house.
Yeah, I know.
Right? You know what I'm talking about. But at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, Phil, when it's all said and done, God set us up as men to do the things we're supposed to do. When he gave us our precious gifts, he gave us a wife, and our wife gave us precious gifts and children.
Yeah.
So when I sit and I say that if someone put their hands on mine, I'm Peter. Look, I keep telling people, it took Peter a long time to understand what he's supposed to do in this ministry with Jesus. A long time. Yeah. He's still working on me, Phil.
Oh, yeah. And some things he gave, some things I don't want him to work all the way out of me, because you need that edge again to, I think, without apology, defend your loved ones. and again, it's without apology, and that includes like the work that you're doing right now. That's just an extension of that. Again, I look at Amir, I think about my son. Again, that has my mind going too, and you've hit on it. What are these laws? What are these policies that these politicians and whomever's in the back putting in place that impact everyday people who are just going about their business, trying to live their life? Again, I keep remembering that video of Amir. It was 7 o'clock in the morning. This dude was asleep on his couch.
They let him get into a long sleep.
Long sleep. Like to sleep. And on a Wednesday, I don't know what he was doing before. I don't know it. He probably had plans to see a girlfriend or maybe go see his mama. I don't know. I really doubt he thought he was going to be woken up to a SWAT team facing him down, and he had no opportunity to announce his case, if you will, to simply ask what's going on.
Phil, he wasn't ready.
No, he wasn't.
Like I said, no. I shoot all the time, Phil. I know when I put my finger on the trigger, I know something's coming out of this thing, right?
Yep.
If I don't put my finger on the trigger,
right,
that tells me nothing's coming out.
Right.
That's what has to happen in order for me to shoot somebody.
Right.
This kid did not have his hand on the trigger. His trigger discipline was immaculate, my brother.
Yep.
Immaculate. You couldn't get better than that when you hand somebody a gun. You hand somebody a gun, what's the first thing they do? They put their hands on the trigger.
Because they don't know no better. Right.
That's right. This kid, and that's what I'm talking about right now. This was to me, it was just a flat setup, Phil. That's why I sit back and I say, I can't bring myself to hating this cop the way I hated the cop that shot Philando Castile.
Mm-hmm.
The Jamar Clark's, the people who lied and swore up and down. Jamar Clark had his hands on the gun.
Yeah.
Derek Chauvin. As much as I watched, and many times as I watched that tape, I wish I was somewhere near there, because we would have then they probably would have had a reason to sit there and go, well, he pulled the gun out, because I would have definitely put it up against his head and say, get off of it.
Mm-hmm.
No offense, but that tape just oh my God, I feel it now, man. Just talking about it.
Yeah. Well, you bring up another thing, and I know your feelings about the officer in regards to Amir, but this brings up things about like holding police officers accountable. Qualified immunity. If a doctor operates on me wrong, he has malpractice insurance, and I can sue that doctor for, if you will, damages. Yeah. But in the case of a police officer, they got qualified immunity. They've got the police union. They've got all these layers of protection that have been put in to keep me from seeking, for lack of a better term, justice in regards to that particular police officer, and by extension, that particular department, or how far I need to go in order to seek justice in that regard and what's done to me. And I think that's the other thing that needs to be addressed. We got no-knock warrants that need to be addressed. And then we got this thing about qualified immunity that needs to be addressed. Why is it that I can sue a doctor, but I can't sue a cop?
They're very protected, man.
I can think of a number of professions that if a roofer came here and they did shoddy work and refused to refund me my money, or, I can take them to court, depending on the amount of the cost of the job. I can take them to court. Somebody, if you hit me, right, and you have no, I can take you to court if need be, if insurance can't settle it, right? Like, but when it comes to the enforcers of the state, it's like hands off.
Right. They can do whatever they want.
We put them on administrative leave. They still collect the check that, guess what, you're paying for, right? And we'll figure it out. And, we didn't find anything. We wash our hands. And you're like, what?
Let us investigate ourselves.
Right. There's nothing. There's nothing I can do. Like, there's nothing. And sometimes I think, like in the case of Breonna Taylor, Derek Chauvin and such, because those became such national stories, they were able to get some level of satisfaction. It doesn't compare it to having their loved one back, but they were able to get some level of satisfaction in terms of some level of compensation. But the majority of people who experience that kind of thing,
nothing. Out in the cold.
Yeah. So again, I think it's important. Again, I just want to reiterate this for those that are watching. Really having the courage to hold your local leaders accountable. Like, if you're on Facebook, Twitter, give Rev Tim Christopher a follow on Twitter, on Facebook, and see see the work that he does. He puts up videos. He interacts with his local officials, and he holds their feet to the fire. He's not afraid to ask questions, offer his opinions, recommendations and stuff. And we need more and more people to do that, because if not, then they just go about like thinking it's okay what they're doing.
That's right.
They do. And we still paying for it. I don't think any of us, if we're doing a piss poor job in something, our employer is going to let us go. So if we know that we do a piss poor job and our employer is going to let us go, if we have politicians that are doing a piss poor job, then we need to let them go.
That's what I'm talking about.
And then we got some more comments coming in here. Let's see here. Tara says, there's too many variables at play with no-knock warrants. We need to do away with them because there's no way to gather enough data or reform them to be a safer way to essentially crash through someone's door of their private residence unannounced and frighten the people inside. They react and it leads to injury and death. Estimated number of no-knock warrants executed per year are ranged from 20 to 80,000, and it only takes one to go sideways. Yes. CJ,
she's right.
Yep, she is. CJ says in qualified immunity.
That would be a long haul, brother.
That is. That
I'm with you on it. But oh my God, you talking about that'd be worse than when they was trying to take the slaves out of the South. I'm just saying.
It'd be on that level. It'd be on that.
When it all said and done. But the thing about here in Minnesota, which is so awesome.
Yeah.
I work with a group of guys called the Minnesota Gun Owners Caucus.
Okay.
And Rob Dorr and Brian Scrosser here in Minnesota fight for our rights to keep our firearm. I mean, Rob is always up there at the Capitol, making sure that they're not pulling something over the wolves. And these guys are phenomenal. And they basically stepped up to the plate and put out a statement. Pretty much, and it floored me because, at the end of the day, I understand they're not political. Yeah. But I think they saw something in this one that they said, you know what? No, we got to do it. And they stepped up to the plate, man. So I've got to get those two guys a huge shout out with them. So again, if you know, they fight to make sure that I get to keep the firearms I need when I'm down there talking or helping or trying to break something up or going to get somebody out of a situation they're not supposed to be in. They fight to make sure I get to keep that, because those people who are trying to take the firearms from us will never go in places that I go, ever.
Yeah.
Ever. So like I said, a big shout out to the Minnesota Gun Owners Caucus here in Minnesota, Rob Dorr and Brian Scrosser. They're phenomenal, dude. They have been, I've been with them and did everything I can to help them. They gave me the opportunity to go and speak at the state capitol, and that's pretty much why I'm even here today, to be totally honest with you.
Okay.
Because they put me in the right place at the right time, and everything just clicked. And so yeah, I always got to give him. I always got to give him a shout out for what they've done.
Good deal. Hey, Tim, we're about to close this one down. Anything you want to share with the watchers and listeners, how they can get in contact with you, so on and so forth?
Well, yeah, the easiest way to get in contact with me is go through shepherdsworksmn.org, or you can just go on Twitter and hit me up at Rev T Christopher, or Facebook Tim Christopher. Either one. I'm easy to get a hold of. I'm easy to. I'll call you back if you call me. I'll put it this way. It's according to how many calls I have to do when I get it. Because I actually work. I mean, my wife and I, we actually have jobs.
Yeah.
And everything that we do after we get off work. So we put in our 8, come home, fold things for the homeless, or put together our care bags and things like that. It's like I was telling people, everybody else was hanging out at their house with their family, eating good food. My wife and I was out in 13-degree weather on Christmas Eve, handing out packages to the poor and the hungry. Yeah, that's what we did Christmas Eve. Hey. So, but other than that, Phil, hey man, I thank you very much for reaching out to me, giving me this opportunity to come on and hang out with you. I thank you very much, man. Seriously.
Yeah, man. I hope next time we talk, it won't be another event like this.
Minneapolis Police Department.
Yeah. I don't want to look up one day and you become the police chief or something.
No, hey, I got, like I told you, if everything works out right, Phil, I got a young man.
Okay.
His name is Jai. I'll shoot him. Well, if you follow me, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That right there is who you want. Running this here joint. Somebody who understands exactly because he's in the streets.
Yeah.
He's street hood too. So he knows exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
So no, I'm not gonna be nothing but I'm gonna be Tim Christopher.
Good. I feel that. We got to have soldiers, special forces types in the streets,
Right.
Yeah. All righty. Hey everybody, thank you for joining the Humanity Matters show with my special guest, Reverend Tim Christopher. Again, connect with me on social media. All right. If you want to be a Patreon supporter, you can always jump over to Patreon and look up PhilipFletcher.phd for as little as $5. Get access to content, videos that's not released on Facebook or YouTube. And as always, connect with the podcast wherever you get your podcast content. Yes, I'm still on Spotify for right now. Anchor and all that good stuff. Apple, all that good stuff. So remember to be loved, to be kind, and to be generous and courageous. And remember to live in hope. We can do the impossible. Take care. God bless. Hey, if you found something of value, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Find us on Facebook at Dr. Philip Fletcher. Find us on Twitter at Philip Fletcher. And as always, visit us on the website philipfletcher.org.